Hello and welcome to the walk-off, everybody. I'm Scott Belford, very excited for a special episode, a special Friday episode. Adam Mack, he is missing today, but we have an incredibly special guest joining us. If you are new to the channel, well, number one, hit that subscribe button. All sorts of good Blue Jay stuff going on here. Hit the like, it goes a long way. And on that, Joel LaFlamme, hey, commie. Welcome back, buddy. It feels like forever since we last chatted. I know that the grounds crew here has been checking in and asking pretty regularly, where's Joel? How's he doing? Where's he at? So how you doing? Where you at?
I'm in LA. Been working on my film stuff over the last few months, which has kind of taken me away from everything, but I'm back. I hated being away for so long.
Yeah.
There's something missing when I'm not talking baseball with you and Adam. So I'm really happy to be back, and I hope that it's reoccurring much more often that I'm back and talking to you guys about baseball, about the Blue Jays, because I missed it. I missed
Well,
it.
I'm excited to have this conversation with you. So we've been doing three studs and a dud again this year. So Adam sent me who he's done the research on. So we'll go over that. We're going to talk just your thoughts on this 2025 Jays team in general, because we haven't had a chance to hear Joel LaFlamme's thoughts on this team. We're going to talk Max Scherzer returning here. Hopefully Tuesday he's making a start. I want to get your opinion on Eric Lauer, because I know that you're similar to me in that, man, when a guy off the scrap heap works, it is a beautiful thing with baseball. I've got a few other fun things to talk about. Foreign substance. I mean, that is kind of your claim to fame, and it just feels like it's still out there. So I want your opinion on that and some of the videos you've made. And then I also have an incredibly weird stat to tell you about, because I know you love weird baseball stats, about Patrick Corbin, of all people, who
Yeah.
has somehow managed to completely rebound and become a dominant pitcher again for the first time since, like, what, 2019?
19, yeah, I'd say 19.
All right, so let's start. Let's dig in with three studs and a dud.
Mhm.
And we're going to start with the third stud of the last week. And for everyone wondering, we're going from Friday last week to Friday right now today. So the number three stud is Addison Barger. He has one walk-off home run and an OPS of 1194. Joel, let's talk Addy for a second here, because I haven't heard your thoughts on him. Dude, this lineup is starting to become balanced. I mean, my God, you got Bo Bichette at the top righty. You got a big masher and Addison Barger lefty in the two hole. You have Vladdy in the three hole. Anthony Santander, when he comes back, we got a switch hitter hitting in the cleanup spot. You got Alejandro Kirk as a righty. You got Dalton Varsho when he's back as a lefty. We haven't even mentioned George Springer yet. Literally, the big resurgence of the year, hitting seventh, maybe seventh for a guy in the 800 OPS area. Nathan Lucas has been great. Another lefty bat there in the eighth. Like, can you even? It's been decades since we've had this sort of balance.
I can't believe how the team has gone from offensive juggernaut to a little mix of like middle ground, good offense, good pitching, to pitching dominance, now shifting back to being an offensive team in the course of 5 years. It feels like there's been three front offices building three different types of teams over the last 5 years, but it's the same front office. It's just you gave me three studs there. You gave me Bo, Addison, and was there another stud?
Yes. So the number three stud was Barger. The number two stud is Vladdy. He has a dinger and a 1137 OPS. And then the number one stud is Bo Bichette, two home runs, a 937 OPS, and been just a dominant force at the top of the lineup. And then
Yeah.
our honorable mention goes to Eric Lauer, who once again was incredibly good in his start. 5 innings pitched, one earned run, 8 Ks, which is the most he's had since 2017, and one walk allowed. So those are our studs. The dud this week is Kevin Gosman, who we will get into, Joel. He's been struggling pretty mightily. And then the dishonorable mention has been Jose Barrios, who also had a very bad start. So where do
Yeah,
you want to start here?
I well, first of all, it's great to see Vladdy and Bo doing what they're supposed to do. They're at the top of the lineup. That's their job. Bo's uptick in power recently has been great because he went a long
Mm-hmm.
time without a home run.
Like almost a
Um,
year.
yeah, he did, right? There was like a year without a homer, and then that stroke as of the last month or so seems the power seems to be coming back, and that's a big part of his game is being aggressive and driving extra base hits. Like you remember back to his rookie season, and he had that streak of extra base hits to start his career, I think, which ended up being a record for extra base
Mm-hmm.
hits in the first 10. Like I talked about it before about how, hey, him, Ted Williams, and Mickey Mantle all had like this same start to their career. Actually, it was Joe DiMaggio, not Mickey Mantle. Mickey Mantle had a slow start to his career, so I don't want to come on the show looking dumb. But yeah,
Do you
I'm
think
really
the Bo we're seeing right now, like since about May 1st, is more representative of what he really is? I know that's not how stats work. I know that we can't just be like, if you don't count his April, he looks like one of the best hitters in baseball. But that is the truth. If you don't count his April, he looks like one of the best hitters in baseball. I know that the consensus is kind of split on that amongst the fan base as to who the real Bo is. So the question for you, Joel, who is the real Bo?
I'm you know me, I'm as big of a Bo fan as there is. I love him. I've been an absolute fan of Bo Bichette from day one. This is 27-year-old in his prime Bo.
Mm-hmm.
And the power was the thing that was missing. He was slapping the ball around, he was getting his hits. The thing that was missing was the power. And the fact that it's back now, this is who he is. Um, and it's he was dealing with a plethora of injuries last year. Like it was, and that's not Bo. Bo is healthy. Bo is
Mm-hmm.
on the field. Bo is playing 155, 159 games a year. So, that takes a lot to kind of recover from, especially when you're dealing with leg injuries, all your power and everything comes from your legs. He's not 6'5", 250 pounds. He doesn't generate speed the way Aaron Judge or Vladdy do. Bo needs to have his legs underneath him, and now that he does, I think that you're seeing the real Bo Bichette, and it's a contract year for him, so he wants to go out there and be the Bo that he's been since he was 21, 22, and we're starting to see that, which is exactly what this team needs because that was a big black hole on this team last year was the the fact Bo Bichette wasn't there pretty much at
Mm-hmm.
all.
Listen, this team is currently 6 games over 500. They have gone on a real heater as of late.
I mean,
Outside of
Yankees have
that,
tanked.
yeah, outside of that Philadelphia series where they ran into some tough pitching, this team has been literally one of the best in all of baseball. Where are you at when you look at this team? Obviously, it's easy to pick out the negatives, right? They probably need to bolster their starting pitching a little bit come the
No need to
deadline.
say.
Like every team does.
Yeah.
Where are you at offensively on this team? Because I'm starting to get excited about it. I know I kind of got overly excited a few minutes ago and ran down the list of this batting order once Varsho and Santander come back and just I'm salivating over how balanced it is after for years this being a right-handed dominant batting order. It just really does feel like you're not going to be, you're giving different pitchers so many different looks. It is beautiful. Where are you at on this current offense?
Tyler Heineman is still batting 400.
Buddy, it's insane.
I don't, that doesn't get like, obviously it's not, it's 64 at bats. It's limited playing time that he's getting, which is just staggering because he's batting 400. He's
Mm-hmm.
batting 405 or something. It's ridiculous. I'm I've been a critic of the front office for a long time, but
You're not
winning
alone.
winning just makes me happy.
Yeah.
Winning is got me happy. This run that we've been on lately, seeing the offense click over the last 6 weeks to a month has just been it's so great to look and see that.
Dude, they're 3 games back of the division
Yes,
right now.
they a a lot of a lot of big people in baseball were like, well, the Yankees are running away with it. Nobody's going to catch them.
Hmm.
And here we are still before the All-Star break, and they're Tampa and Toronto have closed the gap incredibly in the last month or so. And that just goes to show you can't just make those claims. And especially in this sport where injuries are happening at crazy rates and you drop a few players and the team is drastically different. And then the Yankees are kind of sputtering right now, and the Blue Jays and Tampa are just firing. You know, they've really made their presence known in the AL East, and it looks like that AL East of a few years ago, where you've got great teams. And I still think that, like, I'm not saying Baltimore is dead in the water, but they're a team that has so much talent on it that they can put a run together too. And this might be a division where you see 3 teams, 5 teams at the end,
Hmm.
500 or over, right? Like the way
Hmm.
it was two,
It's
3 years
so
ago.
funny how many people wrote the AL East off, and now it's right back to being the AL Beast again. Like it is
Yeah.
right there. This is really interesting, Joel, when you look at where they are at schedule wise. So they're 6 games above 500 going into a 3 game series against the White Sox. Let's say they take 2 of 3. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So at that point, with the off day on the 23rd, they're 7 games over 500. Now they have 10 games that include a schedule of Cleveland, 3 against Boston, 4 against the Yankees. At that point, if they go 5-5 against those teams, they are 7 games above 500 at the 4th of July. Now, the next 10 games before the All Star game is 3 against the Angels, 3 against the White Sox, 4 against the Athletics. They very well could wind up at the All Star break 10 games over 500.
I think that's a very
Like, and that's not, I'm not doing crazy math
no,
here.
that's a reasonable expectation. That's
Like, that's,
absolutely reasonable.
that's a
Yeah.
pretty reasonable expectation. They could be over that, but I really don't think they're going to be under. I mean, famous
I'm gonna
last
watch
words.
those
Right.
Blue Jays games against the Angels, by the way.
Yeah.
When they
Oh, you're
come down.
going to the
Yeah.
games. Hell
Yeah.
yeah, buddy.
It's gonna be
Oh
fun.
man, that'll be great. And
Oh,
now that Shohei's not there, you don't need to waste any time just admiring other players. You can just truly concentrate on the Jays.
I there's 2 teams that I'm in range in. So I can go see Dodgers games and
Yeah.
I can go see Angels games. And the way that I look at the Angels is a conduit to see other teams.
Yeah.
Because Dodgers games, I went and saw I was telling you this, I went and saw a Dodgers Yankees game, the 18-2 game. That ticket cost me $106.
Wow.
It was 3 rows from the top. 3 rows from the
Yeah.
top. The first Dodger game that I went and saw, I was actually sitting like 8th row down the first baseline. Will Smith had a pop out to Spencer Torkelson, and he threw the ball up into the stands. And I've got it; it's right up there. So
Amazing.
yeah,
Very cool.
first Dodger game I got a ball, so
Love
that
it.
was insane. But those games, I think those tickets were like $400. So
Hmm.
you got to mortgage your house to be able to go watch this
Yeah.
Dodger team. To go watch the Angels, you're talking $8 a ticket.
Yeah.
$8 a ticket, and it's just like the Rangers are coming to town for a 4 game set. I'm gonna get to see deGrom.
Yeah.
It's just being able to, hey, over here there's this all-star team, and over here there's this beautiful conduit to see who's coming in to play the
Yeah.
Angels.
It's
Right?
funny how
So
it works, eh? Joel, I
yeah,
know I was going to Blue Jays games here in April for like 15, $20 a ticket. And now to go on a Monday or a Tuesday, you're paying 60, right? Like the difference between a bad team and a good team is a pretty hefty
oh,
dollar.
it's true. You can tell that I come to LA too because of the color of the water that I'm drinking. But
Okay.
yeah, no, it's been a really, really fun ride. And I don't think that what you're saying is at all a stretch that they could be 10 games over 500 going into the All-Star break. buyers at the deadline,
Yeah.
obviously, totally in contention for a wild card spot. Everything that you were, everything that I didn't think that that was truly possible. I'll be the first to admit my expectations of the team this year weren't that. And the other thing is that there's more to get out of this team,
Hmm.
right? Like you're
That it
talking
truly
about,
feels that way, doesn't
yeah,
it? Like
it
especially when
does.
you look at the injured list and Dalton Varsho is right there and he was
Mhm.
showing power when he was here. He's got a new
Absolutely.
swing. Anthony Santander coming back. There's no way Santander it can be any worse than he was when he was here. So
Yeah.
like if we get anything out of him,
I really think that like I'm just gonna throw away his first 50 games
yeah.
and say, hey, come back, give us 20 home runs, be a 5 hole hitter for
Yeah.
us.
Which is
Varsho
something
coming
that they
back.
can do now. Like with
Yeah.
Addison Barger performing like he has and Alejandro Kirk refinding his 2022 swing, they don't need him in the 3 hole, right? Like
No.
Santander is just fine in the
I
five
want
hole.
him to swing like a 5 hole hitter.
Yeah.
Go up there and be stupidly aggressive. I don't want you, I don't want you working counts. I want you finding the first pitch you can drive and drive it. Like
Hmm.
give me a 5 hole mentality. I don't want on base. I don't want anything like that. I want you hitting 250, slugging 500 with a 305, 315 on base percentage. Just go up there and swing big, miss big, hit big. That's
Hmm.
what I want from him. So, and then when it comes to the pitching staff, I feel like if Gosman can settle himself down, if Barrios can figure himself out, he's had a couple shaky outings, but that is the Jose Barrios train, is a couple of good outings and a terrible one.
Hmm.
Um, and then the fact that you've got Max coming back, and Max has always been. I know he's 40. I know the expectations for Max Scherzer is like he's a 40-year-old, but at the end of the day, he is right there for being my favorite pitcher ever. And the fact that I get to cheer for Max Scherzer. I've been waiting for this all season long.
Hmm.
He went down so quick, and I was like, oh my God, no, this is not what I want. I want to see Max pitch. And if he can be a 350 ERA guy, give you 6 good innings, that's the you've got almost like your trade pieces coming to you already without having to give anything up.
Agreed. And you know what? Max Scherzer coming back and just being serviceable and giving us 6 innings will be huge for this
Mhm.
pitching staff. I had a little thought here that I want to bounce off you. So obviously, come the deadline, bolstering this pitching staff is probably one of the top priorities, is getting another starting pitcher in here. Um, Eric Lauer has been incredible. This is a guy who was in Korea last year, hadn't pitched since like 2022 with Milwaukee. He's been around. He's a veteran journeyman, but he's just really put it together. That said, I think he's perfect in that number 5 hole. I don't think there's any reason to do anything but just enjoy the success we've seen out of him and continue to let him go 2 times through the order. Maybe you let him touch on a third time a little bit if he's rolling. You know, he just had the most strikeouts that he has had in years in the big leagues in his last start. He looks incredible, but it does feel like that an addition of a starting pitcher would be huge. Now, if they're going to do this, it does feel like a top end starter is probably what they need the most. And honestly, Joel, I say this with much love for Chris Bassett, Jose Barrios, and Kevin Gosman, who have honestly been the backbone of this starting staff for years. They go out there and they're consistent every single year. Maybe not to when I say consistent, I mean like all three of them are pretty solid number threes. And I don't mean that with disrespect either. I know that maybe in previous years, Gosman and Bassett, even Barrios have been that number 2, that number 1. Right now in 2025, it just feels like they're number threes. And number threes, we're well aware, can have good runs. We're well aware number threes can put up numbers like a number 1 for a few starts. But we're seeing what number threes also do, which is have stinkers and, you know what, probably shake out around that 4 ERA area. So this is my thought, Joel. Jacob deGrom is healthy for the first time in years. He is on a big, big contract with the Texas Rangers, a very bad Texas Ranger team, by the way, with a few albatross contracts on there of their own. I don't think moving Marcus Semien is an option for them at this point with his age and the way that he has diminishing value has of returns, right? Now, Jacob deGrom has been absolutely dominant. He's under contract till 2028. There is a CBA coming up that is probably going to erase one of those years. Is he ever going to be healthy again after this year? Yeah, there's a big question mark there. He's already been through 2 Tommy John surgeries. So, all of this, I know this was a long friggin' preamble up to asking you this question. But after watching what the Boston Red Sox did with Rafi Devers and the fact that they were prepared to get very, very little back to get a team to just show some financial might and take on that contract, is there a world where the Toronto Blue Jays could maybe give up very little to get Jacob deGrom if they're prepared to take on that money? And do you think that that type of acquisition is what the Blue Jays front office should be looking to do? Should they be aiming high and maybe using that financial might they have to lower the cost? And do you think Jacob deGrom would be a fit?
I'm a lot of content that I had put out on my page was about how deGrom's mindset was always to pitch the greatest season in Major League Baseball history. And that came with this mentality of throwing 100-mile-an-hour average fastball. That has average fastball below 100 miles an hour. And that I made a video, I put it out a few times, that he became this Icarus-like figure who was flying too close to the sun, because you just can't maintain that. You just can't. There's a rupture point to the UCL. It's around 1250 psi. You get to about a 94, 95 mile an hour fastball, you start to sit in that rupture point. Okay. When you throw 100, you're upwards of 1650 psi. That's 350 pounds per square inch per pitch beyond the rupture point of the UCL. And I sat there and I'm like, you just are just going to deal with injuries. You are. You are, no matter how great you are, unless you're a Nolan Ryan or you're some sort of built different Randy Johnson,
Mm-hmm.
potentially Paul Skeens type pitcher, you're going to deal with arm trouble. This year, through humility, he's ticked that fastball velo down to about 96.8. This is the deGrom that can throw 200 innings. This is the deGrom that back in 2019 threw this hard, and I think that was the last time that he threw 200 innings. I don't have the numbers in front of me. I think this deGrom stays healthy. I really do.
Mm-hmm.
You look at the last 4 or 5 seasons, he's struggling to get to 60 innings. Okay. This deGrom right now, I think, throws 170 innings this year. And I think that this deGrom can stick around on this Tommy John and throw like this for the foreseeable future, for 37, for 38, 39. This is as dominant of a pitcher as we have ever seen. Him at his peak is the best pitcher that's probably ever thrown a baseball.
Yeah.
Him at 90% effort, 85% effort, which keeps him healthy, is still a top 10 pitcher in baseball. And so if the Jays can make a run at a player like that, I'm all for it, because I honestly believe that the mentality he has now will keep him out on the field, because he knows if he wants to make a run at the Hall of Fame, he's going to have to start 28 to 30 games for the next 3-4 seasons.
Do you think that there is an appetite in Texas for this possibility even?
I that's the tough question right there, because they
We're
went to
guessing for sure. Like,
they look at Seager, Simeon, Garcia, um, Langford. They
mhm.
think that they're a team that should be contending. Patrick Corbin's on that team. You're going to
Yeah.
bring him, right? So it's just like they're a team that looks at their roster and their lineup and says, "Hey, we should be there. We just won a World Series a few years ago. The core pieces of that team are still here. We should be able to compete." And so that's a big situation. But at the same time, I think the Boston Red Sox are a team that's sitting there above 500, a chance to go after the wild card, and they see getting rid of Rafael Devers as a way of freeing up that money to be aggressive when it comes to free agents,
Hmm.
right? So if
Kyle Tucker,
you
I'm sure, is in their
that's
sights.
that's I really think that. I know that they've got a lot of outfielders, but like getting that franchise player to go with Roman Anthony
Hmm.
and the young stars that they have there, you want that 27, 28-year-old franchise guy who's done it all, who's been to the World Series and done all that to come in and kind of bolster. That's a Boston move to me,
Hmm.
is going after a Kyle Tucker. And you're not going to be able to do that with a 300+ million dollar DH.
Hmm.
Even though he is your three-hole hitter, they got rid of Devers. There was that little drama issue about him coming off at third base. And they said, well, you know what? Let's get him out of here and we'll make a big run at a different three-hole hitter who kind of fills what we need, our team mentality, what we want to be as a team. And that's tough because they've thrown away a lot of stars. Xander Bogaerts, Mookie Betts. All I see is how dumb the Red Sox are for what they've given away. Like, hey, they
Hmm.
gave away Chris Sale. Yeah, Chris Sale was an inconsistent piece for them injury wise. He did
Hmm.
find himself in Atlanta, but you couldn't have predicted that.
No.
Um, Getting rid of Xander Bogaerts saved them a boatload of money. Okay, saved them a boatload of money. And now they're in a spot where that's like, was Mookie going to be enough to make them a World Series winner over the last 4 or 5 years? I don't know about that. He hasn't really put together. He had one good run at the MVP, but when you look at like he's kind of injury prone now. And then you'd be stuck on a $300 million contract with a guy who's hitting pretty close to league average and dealing with injury risks. I love Mookie Betts, but having him be your second baseman right fielder making 340 for the next 7 years, that's going to be costly. Nobody is it's easy to judge the first few years of a massive deal within the middle of the deal, but then to see what that deal ends up being over the next 5, 6 years, we're not there yet. So we haven't been able to truly make the judgment call on those deals. But it gives the Boston the opportunity to free up that money they need with a young core and then bring in a stud player to be able to go after it the way that they want to. Um, and with Texas, I think it's that kind of situation where they look and they go, hey, Evan Carter comes around the way we want him to. With Wyatt
Hmm.
Langford on the way we want him to. We've still got pieces here to be competitive. Maybe shifting that 35 million a year that we pay to deGrom somewhere else is what suits this team a little bit better. So yeah, it
So
could be
maybe there is a possibility there.
yeah, I think so. They're not going to get rid of Corey Seager.
No.
Simeon is too
Difficult to move.
yeah, I think too difficult to move at this point. Don't get me wrong. If he came back and became 2021 Marcus Simeon
Oh,
again, breaking the record for second baseman
well,
home
there'd
run.
be a lineup of teams if that was
Yeah.
the case.
Yeah. But yeah, I definitely wasn't thinking that. Like my trade piece that I would definitely be looking at would be somebody like a Mitch Keller out
Yeah.
of Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Like you're looking, that's to me, you're talking about making a trade piece for a starting pitcher that can give you something. Like I know his ERA is I think a little bit over 4.
He's
I
also
think
pitching in Pittsburgh,
yeah.
which
And,
doesn't
and
help.
that's such a thing, right? That's like you're going out there and you know that you're probably going to lose because your offense isn't going to give you anything.
Yeah.
And he's 1-9 on the
Hmm.
season, but he's competitive. Like he's thrown, I think, almost 90 innings at this point. He's, I think that that's a pitcher who's got a 4 ERA who comes over and pitches for a contender, and all of a sudden he's got a 3 ERA.
Hmm.
So that's kind of like and I think that that's more of a move that you could get for a little bit less price, you know.
Mitch Keller, I like. I like Tyler Anderson out of LA might be another guy in that range where you're
Mm-hmm.
like, okay, sure, with the Angels, your numbers are fine. I mean, his numbers are fine, but I think on a good team, they definitely improve. Patrick Corbin is another guy that
Another,
is
yep.
been really interesting. While I bring up Patrick Corbin, this is the write up on him that was just put out, and I just want I just love shit like this because baseball is so funny when it comes to these sort of like events and how they can spin it. So a venomous spider may have just saved Patrick Corbin's career. I don't know if you've heard this. After
I have not.
after 5 years of being the worst pitcher in baseball, a spider bite turned him unstoppable, question mark. So not only was Corbin just bad, since 2020, he had the worst wins above
Oh,
replacement in baseball. He gave up the most runs in baseball, lost the most games, was statistically the worst starting pitcher in MLB, and it wasn't even close. But here's the twist. This was never supposed to be Patrick Corbin's story, right? He was an all-star at 23, the D-backs opening day starter by 24, lefty ace with a wipeout slider, and then injuries hit. Corbin missed the 2014 season. In 2016, he posted a 5.15 ERA with a negative wins above replacement. It looked over. Then at 28, a contract year, Corbin blew up. 3.15 ERA, top five in Cy Young voting, all star again, immaculate timing. He became one of the most wanted free agents in baseball, ranked only behind Bryce Harper and Manny Machado. Everyone thought he'd sign with the Yankees. Instead, the Nationals dropped $140 million for him. Obviously, in 2019, he was huge. He shut down the Astros in Game 7 of the World Series. The Nationals do not win that ring without Patrick Corbin. Bottom line, we all remember playoff 2019 Patrick Corbin. He was absolutely insane. Lights out. Legendary season for him. After that, collapsed. Right from 2020 to 2023, again, worst ERA in baseball, missed most hits allowed, most home runs allowed, most losses, most runs given up year after year. Still starting, still pitching. Why did the Nationals keep starting him? Because they had to. They were
yeah.
just so god awful. They were paying him $140 million, and he was durable, which is one thing you can give Patrick Corbin. Even when you, as a fan of the Nationals, didn't want him starting, he was out there starting, right? 30 plus starts, 3 years in a row. No other pitcher that bad even lasted that long. By wins above replacement, he was still worth
That's
4
that's a hell of a thing to say, though.
isn't it?
It's like he's really, really bad, but he's good at staying out there and being bad. And
And
you're like,
taking his lumps. The man can take a punch, right? So by war, he was still worth 4.9 wins since 2020. Yes, he was the worst, but the next worst, almost twice as good. He was historically bad, but also weirdly valuable. By 2024, everyone assumed his career was done. 35 years old, washed up, overpaid, set to retire with a ring and over 100 million earned. But then the Rangers called. Two starters got hurt. Corbin signed as insurance. And his first start, I think some of us will remember too, it was god awful. And the Rangers just about cut him. And Joel, they would have cut him if they had anybody else. They didn't. This is where it gets crazy. After that start, he got bitten by a venomous spider. He could barely walk. He wound up in hospital. It swelled up to twice his size. His hand swelled up to twice the size. He was limping. He wasn't expected to pitch. But that night, he forced himself because, again, right? Patrick Corbin, try and keep him off the mound. You can't do it. He went out there. He had sweats. His hand was still swollen from this bite. He struck out six of the first nine batters he faced, and he hadn't done that in 4 seasons. From there, he pitched 5.1 innings and gave up just one run. Next start, six straight strikeouts, and suddenly Patrick Corbin was dealing again. Since the spider bite, he has a 2.94 ERA, best stretch he's had since 2019. 35 years old and looking reborn. He went from unpitchable to unhittable overnight. And listen, I know this isn't based on a spider bite, but I fucking love baseball and stuff like that. It's so silly and so fun and just like good for Patrick Corbin.
it's a Spider-Man story. He's Patrick Parker or something. It's
Oh,
like
Patrick Parker.
it's I that is a great story. And um yeah, I'm looking, I've got his reference page up right now, and you're looking at 3 straight seasons where he led the league in losses.
Yeah.
16, 9 and 16, 6 and 19, 10 and 15. Just that's
Five
90.
ERAs across the like
Oh
just
yeah.
monster
582,
ERAs.
631, 520, 562. That's
And those aren't small sample sizes. This is like
that's
32
100
starts.
that's 120 starts, whereas
Wow.
ERA is 550. I cannot imagine what that would do to your psyche. I
Right?
can't imagine what that would do to your neck because you're just
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
you got whiplash from seeing the balls get ripped all over the place.
I mean, to go
Um,
out there and pitch 180 to 200 innings every single year and then just be dealt 15 to 20 losses and your ERA is like 6 and you're like it's just like it's crazy he stayed in the game. I
it
mean,
is
the money is why, right? He's like I'm not retiring.
100%.
I've got 140 million dollars reason 140 million reasons to not retire. But do you think that Patrick Corbin has value now, right? Like he's most likely a guy the Rangers would move at the deadline.
Oh, the fact that they can get something for Patrick Corbin, you have to look at that as a, you're like, hey, he's a seventh, insurance starter that we have. Oh, we can actually get something in return for this guy. They have to be jumping for joy. The fact that that's a penny stock that all of a sudden is worth $5 a share, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like
Mm-hmm.
it's a yeah, they would be very, very happy
Do you think
to
there will be a a lineup of teams? Like, do you think they might actually get a pretty penny for him?
I, I don't want to say pretty penny, but the
Yeah.
fact that they could get a penny
Yeah.
is pretty great. And you need you need left-handed innings. That's something that's always going to have value is a left-handed pitcher who can give you innings. Like whether he goes to another team and is used like whether he's sent to a contender and he's used as a starter or it's more of a hey, we've got this long relief lefty that can come in and maybe he's an opener when a team's got a ton of guys. Like I think there's usage.
Hmm.
I'm a GM and I'm like I can find a way to get this guy's healthy. He takes the mound. He's ready to go. I whether I use that as every 5 days you pitch or I'm on a great team and something something that I kind of argue for, and it's a point of contention right now across baseball is position players pitching, and I'm
Hmm.
not. I'm not a fan. Like I know it's fun and it's cute to see. Oh, it's a blowout. Let's see this guy come up.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it.
Yeah.
I don't want to see it at all. I don't want to see it. I think that it's a point where this is management and how do you run your team? And if you blow somebody up, they have to eat it.
Yeah.
I think that's a point. Like we blew you up, and now you have to figure out how to get through the game with pitchers.
Yeah.
You can't just, oh, we're just gonna like save our bullpen by getting our asses kicked by another 8 runs.
Hmm.
I don't like that at all. I
Hmm.
don't. I think that that's a cheap workaround.
In that
And
Yankees Dodgers game, that 18-2 game you watched, I'm guessing the Yankees had position players pitching at a point.
Kike was pitching
Right, that's
for
right.
the
Oh,
Dodgers.
the Dodgers were saving arms.
The
Hilarious.
Dodgers were saving arms winning.
Oh my
You know,
God.
So but yeah, at the end of that game, I think the last 2 or 3 innings, it was position players playing that
Oh,
game,
and then
and
you're
I
just
was just
like, so glad I paid 120 US to
yeah,
sit in bad seats and watch position players pitch.
everybody left,
Yeah.
and I'm sitting there, and I'm like, and you're just seeing, I'm like, I want. There's no equivalent in any other sport. There's no equivalent in yeah. Oh, we're losing really, really bad. Let's put the equipment manager in net. Oh, we're losing really, really bad. Let's put the fans into the basketball game. Oh, we're losing really, really bad. Let's put the water boy in, unless it's Adam Sandler and it's 1998. But like, there's no other equivalent in sport where you're just, hey, let's not put a professional, and it's pitching.
Hmm.
Pitching is the most singular weight on your shoulder position in all of sports,
Hmm.
right? It's more than the quarterback in football. This is
Hmm.
the guy who has to pitch. He has to throw the ball, and everything is dictated on how he does. And the fact that we can just take that away from a professional and make it a novelty and a circus act, I don't like it. And I think that you have to deal with getting through 9 innings with your pitching staff.
I'm with you, buddy. I think that it would be a pretty good little rule, in my opinion, if they make it so pitchers have to pitch.
Yeah.
Eat
Pitchers have
it.
to pitch.
Eat it, as you said,
Eat
right?
it.
If you get blown up, you freaking eat it. And if
That's
you want to be ridiculous about it, fine. Bring out a pitcher to just throw like the frickin', like just
I miss long relief.
yeah.
I miss guys. That was a job. That was a job. It wasn't a pretty job, but it was like we gave up 5 in the first inning and we're taking our starter out. Here's this guy, and his ERA is 4.8. But
Here's
you know
Patrick
what?
Corbin.
Sure, exactly. Like
Yeah.
we're taking the job away, and that was an important job
Yeah.
to be that guy who's like, look, I'm going to try to do my best out here. I'm ready whenever you need me. And if I can get through 4 clean innings,
Hmm.
maybe I can bring us back into this game.
Yeah.
But it's my job to preserve the bullpen and keep
Yes.
people healthy. It's not my job to go out there and carve people up. It's not my job to have a 12 strikeout per nine. It's not my job to have a 2.5 FIP. It's my job to go and eat this. And
Hmm.
I'm going to do it. I'm going to get paid $2 million a year to be your long relief. And that spot's out of the league. And I'm like, because everybody's coming in throwing max effort. And I'm like, if it's not max effort, it's a position player. And I'm like, there should be a gap there for the workhorse guys who can come in and eat up innings eaters. Like that is a commodity that just doesn't exist anymore in baseball because hey, we're getting blown out so much. Let's let the utility guy throw. And then he hurts his shoulder
Yeah.
and he's out. And you're like, I'm kind of
Mr.
I'm
LaFlamme,
no.
man, I so miss talking baseball with you. Like, honestly, dude, it is so great to see you again and have you back on the show. I know you have a plane to catch here, so I'm going to end on your bread and butter. All right? Sticky stuff. The foreign substance, obviously, this is what kind of blew your TikTok account, Hey Kami, up to begin with, was that you were one of the people who brought it to the forefront, that made it public knowledge that pitchers were cheating, and that some of the reasons why guys had become so dominant is that they were just straight up loading the ball up. And MLB crackdown. I say that loosely because I do feel like it is still out there. And I know that you have shown some videos recently, including one of Shohei Ohtani, where you continue to go to his wrist. And I know that people hate when you do this and they get all upset. And, what's an odd death threat here and there over it, right? It's nice and good and fun social media stuff, as we're all aware.
Yeah,
But
people are really bold on social media.
aren't they? It
Well,
is
say it to my face.
insane. Yeah.
Come say it to me. How
Yeah.
about one? Say it to me.
So, all of this to ask you the question of where are you currently at on foreign substance? Obviously, I think it is still in the game. They have cracked down a bit. Do you think that they give a little bit more leeway to the top guys in the game? And of course, speaking of Shohei Ohtani here, and do you think that there is a smarter way to get rid of foreign substance than how they're currently doing it? Because I know I keep watching all these videos of people who get really upset about it, and they say stuff like the pushback on Shane Bieber's Cy Young not being cheating is so funny to me because I truly do believe that like the truth is, yeah, everyone who did, and this is the weird double standard people have. The same people who will defend the foreign substance and say it's not cheating are the same people who are like, anyone who did PEDs is the worst human on the planet. They were cheating for sure. Don't even put them in the Hall of Fame. Nothing. Don't even look at them. And I'm not saying they're not cheaters. They are cheaters, but so are the foreign substance users are cheaters. And I guess all of this to ask you, should the ball be tacked? Should they just have across the board, here is the ball. It's already been loaded up.
Yeah,
Anything else is now a big time we crack down on, because right now there's no crackdown. Like the worst case is like how many times have we even seen a guy throwing out for foreign substance? Like twice since they've made it illegal. So
Yeah, there definitely hasn't been many.
so tell me about Shohei Ohtani. Tell me about your video with the going to the wrist, and tell me about where foreign substance is in the game as we are right now in 2025.
Yeah, I took a lot of hate for that video, and I
Yes.
didn't want to do it. I was just excited to tune in. First of all, there's a lot of suspicious stuff going on with that start. Like, like, and I am a huge Otani
Yes,
fan.
I know you are.
I am. This is Otani. This is our unicorn. We should all be proud of our unicorn. He's a baseball player. As baseball fans, we can sit there and go, "This is our guy." I think he's exceptionally honorable. I think he's an absolutely amazing human being, and I love Shohei Ohtani. That being said, he was using like the kinetic K2 arm brace, which I guess is legal. I don't know why that is legal to be able to have like a tensor pressure bandage around your elbow that like holds everything in place. That's a little like
Yeah.
they don't know about that. But first of all, 1 day of notice that Shohei Ohtani is pitching, 1 day of notice. That seems suspicious. Wouldn't you say, hey, 10 days from now he's pitching? It seems
Hmm.
more like that as opposed to, hey, tomorrow he's going to pitch an inning. And you're like, well, he's a starter.
Yeah.
When do starters, like, obviously he needs a rehab start. He can't get a rehab start because he's a DH and you need him on the team to hit. But he was facing live batters and they're like, oh, he's going to pitch 1 inning. That just seems a little strange. What day did it just so happen to be on? It happened to be on the day that Ipe was going to prison. So the headlines were going to be Ipe goes to prison. Now the headlines are Otani is pitching again.
Yeah.
Okay. All of a sudden, the narrative completely shifts. The headlines completely shift from something that is negative on the Dodgers to something that is positive on the Dodgers. Oh, okay, cool. He I can't just sit and say this is cheating. I can't sit and say that because it's not like he was dipping into spider tack in his
Yeah.
glove or something. But what was really suspicious was he came out on the mound. He didn't get checked coming out to the mound because he came out of the dugout. He came out of the dugout, not from the bullpen. So he came out of the dugout, went on the mound. He threw 23, 25 pitches, something like that. And he never went to the rosin bag. Now, people are going to sit there and go, oh, it was sunscreen. He wore long sleeves. He wasn't sunscreen. He had long sleeves on. Don't put sunscreen on, then put a long sleeve shirt on. That's baloney. Other people say it was just sweat. He's got the sweatiest wrists in the
Yeah.
universe. You just got one spot on your wrist that constantly gives you sweat, and this was what he was doing. It wasn't
That was the weird thing. It like
this
it was, and the fact that he did it so many times, it did make me
over?
question it, right? Like
Yes, over and
it,
over again without ever going to the rosin bag. It's sweat and rosin.
I saw one guy say, "Oh, it
Rosin.
was probably a bug bite." And I was like, "Are you like we are really reaching here to let the guy off the hook?" Like,
His wrist is hurt.
yeah.
Then why is he swinging the bat?
Yeah.
Right? Like it's
Sure, it's
suspicious.
convenient. It's his glove hand.
Yeah, it's it's suspicious.
Yes.
It's not. This is not me going. Garrett Cole is cheating. That's different.
Yes.
Garrett Cole's spin rate's up 400. He's cheating. No, but going like this, and every time it was a foul ball, every time there was a ball out of play, this multiple times, get the ball, lather up the ball. Where's the rosin?
Yeah.
It's sweat and rosin for tack. It's sweat and rosin.
Yeah.
Okay. It's not just sweat. It's
Yeah.
not. So it was just really, really suspicious. And obviously he wants to do whatever he can to take the pressure off of his grip. Because when you grip the ball, that's what causes forearm strain. That goes right into your
Which
UCL.
Joel is a problem Major League Baseball should deal with.
Yes. Oh, 100. That's why the ball should be. I've said
Like
this for a few
it's
years.
hard to shit on these pitchers that are just like just trying not to get injured. And I listen, I know it's not just that. Obviously, loading the ball up, the spin it gives and the extra advantage it gives is pretty massive. But there's a little bit of both, right? Like there is a little bit of like, well, I don't want to need to squeeze the ball to the point where I'm endangering my tendons or having something go on in my elbow, which is something
My
that has been going on.
my counterpoint to that is then you got to give up some runs.
Yeah.
Then you're holding the ball too hard, too bad. Cry
Yeah.
me a river. You don't
Yeah.
get to strike out everybody. The last people that I want to hear about how pitching should be done and how the ball should be handled are pitchers. No, just stop it. I need this for control. No, you don't.
Yeah.
You need it to for your whiff rate to be through the roof. You need that to K 13.5 per
Which
nine.
is another epidemic within baseball where they have created all these areas where the guys with the best whiff, the guys who have the highest velocity, the guys with the highest spin rates make the most money. So, of course, guys are prepared to risk injury to do that. But at some point, there should be a breaking point, and I'm kind of with you, Joel, where it's like, you know what? Don't squeeze the ball too hard then. Be prepared to allow some contact, right? You can't strike out everyone. Maybe a ground ball to get out of this inning is probably a lot better for everyone involved, anyways. So,
Maybe if you threw the first pitch intending that to be the out.
hmm.
Maybe if I threw a sinker on his hands and I, instead of trying to get it under the bat, I try to get a small portion of the bat so that a weak ball is hit to my shortstop and I get an out on one pitch.
For everyone about to comment too, I'm well aware that different circumstances require different strategies. I'm not
Yes.
saying that a guy on third with one out, you don't want to go for a strikeout. Of course you do. That's not what I'm saying. I'm just saying when the opportunity to arises to use fewer pitches, put less strain on your arm, and maybe not necessarily go after the K, it might be the way to go.
If you can get Buck Martinez is the great guy to come out and say 12 pitches per inning.
Yeah.
12 pitches per inning gets you deep into a game. You
Yeah.
average 10 to 12 pitches per inning. That gets you deep into a game. If you're going for strikeouts all the time and it takes you 6 pitches, 7 pitches to get the strikeout, you add whip into that, you're sitting around 18 to 20 pitches an inning. By the time you're in the fifth, you're at 100 and you're done. Oh, I threw 5 shutout. It took me 100 pitches.
Robbie
No,
Ray is a great example of this, by the way. Love what Robbie Ray is doing with the Giants right now. But I watched the Giants play when he was pitching. I think it was his last start or maybe two starts ago. And he was at 24 pitches after the first inning, and he just struck out all three guys. Like it was just three strikeouts, 24 pitches. I was just like, that is so many pitches to just get three guys, and he did. He went. It was 1, 2, 3, but like the now one of those at bats was a 12 pitch at bat, but nonetheless, dude, 24 pitches, right? Like to get three outs from three guys, and you're just going into the next inning to face the number 4 hitter in the lineup, and you're like, man, his pitch count. Like if you strike everybody out, you're only going 4 or 5 innings.
Crash Davis comes out and he says, "Hey, stop trying to strike everybody out. You're
Yeah,
fascist. Hit
yeah.
some ground balls. It's more democratic." It's such a great line. I
It's
love
such
that
a great line.
because it's so true. You go out there, like we've held up the immaculate inning. Don't get me wrong, that takes 9 pitches to do, so it's pretty quick if you can do an immaculate inning. But where's the respect for a 3 pitch inning?
Oh,
That should be held up as the most amazing thing that you can do. You can do an inning in under 5 pitches. That needs to be like, whoa, you got
yeah.
3 outs in 5 pitches. Where's that? I want that guy. I want, and that's a style, the Greg Maddux style of doing a complete game in under 80 pitches, under 90 pitches. It's something that's missing. And when you go out there and you throw 100 pitches into the fifth, and then you need a guy to throw the sixth, a guy to throw the seventh, a guy to throw the eighth, and a guy to throw the ninth. That's we're at a place, Scott, where in the late 90s, early 2000s, a team needed 2.8 pitchers to finish a game.
Yeah.
Now we're at 5.5. Okay, that's your roster. That's so many more roster spots that you need for bullpen arms because the average pitcher back in 1995, 2000, we come from going from a Roy Halladay who threw 260 innings. 260 innings with a 2 ERA. The value of that is astronomical. That's 3 pitchers. That is three pitchers in this day and age.
Yeah.
That is a 180 inning starter. That is and then 240 inning relievers.
Yeah.
That is three roster spots, and we just and Roy Halladay's K rate, I swear to you, never in a single season was over 10.
Yeah.
It was never 10. It was about 6.5, 7.5 Ks per nine. You throw that cutter, you look at his no hitter, you look at his perfect game. It's ground balls to shortstop,
Yeah.
right? And I just think that that's a style that we just don't understand anymore. Throw it because the average pitcher nowadays throws 175 innings. Back then it was 200.
Yeah.
Now factor in 5 starting pitchers. That's an extra 150 innings that you're putting on your bullpen. You're sitting at a point where starters back in the early 2000s, late 90s were eating up. You have to throw 1,500 innings.
Mm-hmm.
Your pitchers have to throw 1,500 innings to get you through a season. 1,500. The starters used to eat up 1,000. Now they eat up 800 to 850. And then the bullpen arms have to come in and like, oh, our bullpen's blowing up. And it's just like, because you put so much more workload on them and you expect them all to throw 102.
Yeah.
And then they get hurt. And then you have to start using minor league guys who aren't ready and they get hurt. And it's just a cyclical, endless cycle of pain and injury and seeing Shane Bieber, Garrett Cole, Shohei Ohtani, Corbin Burns, Jacob deGrom, all in the last 2 years, sitting out for 18 months with Tommy John. Drew Rasmussen is 29 years old. He's had 3 Tommy Johns.
It's wild, man.
5 years of his 8-year professional career spent.
It's an epidemic.
Rehab.
It's straight up an epidemic that they refuse to look at.
Yeah.
Joel, I am so happy to see you, my friend. Thank you so much for guest hosting. I know that we talked before I hit record, and it looks like we're going to be able to convince you to come on a little more regularly here. Your summer's starting to clear up a little bit here, which is good news. Brother, thank you so much. For everyone who wants more content from Joel LaFlamme, check out his TikTok account, Hey Commie, filled with all sorts of goodies. Till the next
Instagram
time.
too now.
And Instagram. That's right. You're really with the times these days.
Yes.
Cheers, brother.